Comfort zones make us feel safe and secure. For me, being comfortable, it's nice for a while, but ultimately it's not fulfilling. Most of us are lucky enough that we live in a world that being comfortable is relatively quite easy to obtain. Our progression in agriculture has allowed us to have food when we want, live and work where we want, and develop a routine that suits our needs. And for some reason, we have attached happiness with the comfort. I once worked in a job after finishing uni where the pay was relatively quite good. I got along with my peers, I got along with my boss, and after some time I started to feel a bit unmotivated, and this was because I knew I could do the job. And basically I had to sort of sit down and ask myself, could I see myself doing this job for maybe 5 years plus? And the answer was no, but I remained. Why was that? And that was because I was comfortable in that particular job. I knew everyone, I knew I could do the job, and I didn't really felt the need to try and push myself. And every time I'd look for a job, I'd get that sort of uncomfortable feeling of putting myself out there and not wanting to do it. So I didn't. And I would have all these preconceptions in my mind, thinking that the worst case scenario would be the only case scenario. So ultimately, it did not move me forward at all. So 6 months down the line, I was called into a meeting, which was fairly quite normal, and I was told that I had been made redundant. I was being let go. They were cutting costs, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. I had been forcibly forced into the unknown and basically jobless. And at the time I was angry and frustrated. And another thing I didn't quite realise at the time was that it actually gave me a chance to be fearless. It gave me a chance to sort of tackle other options that I had been sort of tinkering in but didn't have the courage to do. But one thing was for sure, I had to move on to the next chapter of my life. From that one single experience, I had promised myself one thing, and that was if I ever felt comfortable in any area of my life, that I would challenge myself and I would do something to change it. See, it keeps us safe and in control, and no one ever likes to feel like they're not in control of their own life. For me, being comfortable, a part of it is being told what to do in the subtle ways that society is built. We're meant to get a degree, we're meant to get a mortgage, we're meant to have a job after uni that pays off our uni debt. These subtle hints of conforming to what is the norm. For me, these are all subtle hints telling society to be comfortable for what they have. Being comfortable doesn't drive us to seek more. It more so drives us to maintain and accept what we already have. When you usually hear of extraordinary stories of entrepreneurs or people breaking world records, these are usually not people that have been comfortable or have stayed within their comfort zones. They have usually looked at the masses and gone the opposite direction, and they've challenged the status quo. I think ultimately this comes down to fear. It can be anything. It could be fear of public speaking. It could be fear of speaking within a meeting. It could be fear of applying for a new job in my example. And these fears is what's keeping us in our comfort zones and stability. When I was jobless, I felt that fear. The fear of the unknown, and what I tried to do was to channel my fear into doing everything I possibly can do to change my current situation. And if you're in a job that you don't like, this is not me saying leave your job or put yourself in a complete state of chaos. So let's take a step back. I came across this diagram done by Bill Ekstrom, and he explains his 4 rings, and basically it describes at what particular stages that we're more likely to come out of our comfort zone. So firstly, you have stagnation. This is where you have no creativity. You may follow many steps and there's no independent thinking. You're not holding yourself accountable for your actions. You don't grow here, you just survive. We've got the next step, which is order. And this is where most people sit at. And this will be more similar to your comfort zones. As humans, we like to be here. We know the outcomes of what we do. Everything is predictable. It may be nice and cozy, but you can't grow here, which leads us on to the next ring. So the next ring is complexity. This is where things become unpredictable. You should seek discomfort as it helps you grow. And then finally, we have the next stage is chaos. This is the opposite of stagnation. Too much is going on here. This is where we have no predictability in what's going to happen. So let's relate that back to what we're talking about here, comfort zones. He mentions complexity. This is the stage where people are most likely to grow. Life is a series of complex events and decisions that ultimately should teach us to be stronger. So we should all be learning from situations of discomfort. But I just don't want to confine this video to just goal setting when it comes to discomfort. It could be something as simple as setting a time aside to do something that you've never done before. This could be going to a restaurant that you've always wanted to try, booking that flight to a country that you've always wanted to go to, walking up to that stranger and introducing yourself, or even taking up that CrossFit class that you've been debating to do. Someone wanted to get fit and shredded, there's something called progressive overload. And to be more specific, this is a term where for muscle to grow, strength to be gained, performance to increase, or any similar improvement to occur, the body must be forced to adapt to a tension that is above and beyond what has been previously experienced. This means that the next workout you have the option to make progress or not, or to maintain your current state. Your body will not change or improve unless you force it to. And if we apply this to other areas of our life, if we can try and change or try and improve our environment to constantly challenge ourselves. I often ask myself, am I pushing myself hard enough to do better? And if there's one thing that I want you guys to take from this video is that you should be constantly seeking discomfort. And in difficult situations, you'll never feel more alive. And I definitely think there's something beautiful in a struggle when you're pushing past the pain, when you're striving for that sense of achievement. I think definitely that's where the magic happens.